They say divorce brings out the worst in people, but I never imagined my ex would take it this far. I never imagined she would take our child. That I had always believed that once love ended, people went their separate ways. Maybe they grieved, maybe they moved on. But what I never understood, until it happened to me, was how vengeance can twist someone into a stranger, into a monster. My name is Aaron, and I used to think I had a picture-perfect life. A loving wife, a beautiful 5-year-old daughter named Lily, and a home filled with laughter. But underneath that perfect surface, rot had already begun to spread. Samantha and I had been married for almost 7 years. We met young, built our lives together from scratch, and supported each other through tough times. At least that's how I remembered it. But somewhere along the line, she started to change. It was subtle at first. Less affection, more silence. Her eyes were distant, her touch mechanical. I thought she was stressed. I thought it would pass. Didn't. One night, after putting Lily to bed, I walked into the kitchen to find Samantha sitting at the table, not with her usual cup of tea, but with a manila envelope in her hands. She slid it across the table without a word. Divorce papers. I stared at them, stunned. Why? I managed to ask, my voice cracking. She looked up, emotionless. I'm not happy anymore, she said. And I haven't been for a long time. The next few weeks were a blur of lawyers, mediation, custody agreements. She wanted full custody of Lily. I wanted joint. We fought, bitterly, painfully, behind closed doors. But in front of Lily, we smiled. We told her mommy and daddy were going to live in different houses, but they both loved her very much. She nodded, clinging to her stuffed bear like it was the only solid thing in her world. Eventually, the court ruled for shared custody. Lily would spend weekdays with her mother and weekends with me. It broke my heart, but I thought we could make it work. For Lily, for a while things were tolerable. But then came the whisperings. Lily started saying strange things when she stayed with me. Mommy says you don't love me anymore. Mommy says you're going to forget me. I tried to reason with Samantha, to ask her not to involve Lily in our problems. She denied everything, of course. Said I was paranoid. I started noticing other things too. When Lily came over, she was withdrawn. Quiet, like she was carrying something heavy inside her tiny chest. Sometimes she'd cry in her sleep, whispering things I couldn't make out. I asked her gently, but she just shook her head and said, Mommy told me not to tell. I knew something was wrong, but I couldn't prove it. Until the day she disappeared. It was a Saturday morning. I had just made Lily's favorite breakfast, chocolate chip pancakes with strawberries. I went to wake her up, but her bed was empty. The window was wide open, curtain fluttering in the breeze. My heart dropped. I searched the entire house, calling her name, checking closets, under the bed, even the backyard. Nothing. I called Samantha, frantic. Her phone went straight to voicemail. I called the police. The hours that followed were a blur of flashing lights, shouting officers, neighbors being questioned. I was questioned too. Hard. They asked if I'd had any enemies, if I'd ever threatened to take Lily from Samantha, if there were custody battles. I told them everything. By the end of the day, Lily was officially listed as missing, and I was officially listed as a suspect. That night, I sat on the floor of Lily's room, holding her favorite stuffed bear, unable to breathe. My daughter was gone, taken, and deep down I knew who had done it, but I had no proof. The police investigated, of course. Samantha claimed she hadn't seen Lily in days. She cried for the cameras, made pleas on the news. But her eyes were wrong. Cold. Empty. She had always been a good actress. I hired a private investigator with the little money I had left. Desperate times called for desperate measures. He dug into Samantha's phone records, her bank statements, everything. And finally, 2 weeks after Lily vanished, we found something. A wire transfer. $10,000. Sent to a woman named Carla Jenkins in a small town 3 states away. The name meant nothing to me, but when the investigator showed me her address, my blood froze. It was the same town Samantha's estranged aunt had lived in. A woman she once described as the only family member who ever understood me. We drove out there immediately. The investigator warned me to stay calm, to let him do the talking. But when we arrived at the rundown farmhouse and I heard Lily's voice behind the screen door, I snapped. I ran to the door and pounded on it, shouting her name. The woman, Carla, appeared in the frame, startled. "Who the hell are you?" she barked. I could see Lily in the background, sitting on the couch, staring at me with wide, confused eyes. "I'm her father," I said. "And you're going to open this door." She didn't. She slammed it shut and locked it. But that was enough. The investigator called the police. By the time they arrived, Carla was gone, escaped through the back. But Lily was safe. I held her so tight that night I thought I might break both of us. She cried in my arms for hours, trembling. "I thought you didn't want me anymore," she sobbed. "Mommy said you gave me away." Those words cut deeper than any knife. Samantha was arrested 3 days later. They found her at a motel near the state border. Her car packed, her hair dyed, her phone wiped. She had planned to disappear, to vanish with Lily and start a new life. In her twisted mind, that was justice. That was revenge. She didn't get far. During the trial, the full extent of her manipulation came to light. The lies she told Lily, the friends she'd bribed to cover for her, the false accusations she had tried to file against me. It was a pattern, a carefully constructed plan, months in the making. Her defense tried to paint her as unstable, traumatized, desperate. But the jury saw through it. She was found guilty of kidnapping, child endangerment, and obstruction of justice. She was sentenced to 15 years in prison. But the damage she did, the trauma she inflicted on Lily, that won't disappear with a sentence. The healing process has been long and complicated. Lily still wakes up with nightmares. She still asks, sometimes, "Will Mommy come back for me?" And I have to hold her close and whisper, "You're safe. I'll never let anything happen to you again." I've learned that love can turn sour, that some people would rather destroy what they can't have than let it go, and that even the person you once trusted most can become a stranger. But I've also learned the strength of a father's love. The lengths we'll go to protect our children, and the fire that burns in your chest when someone threatens what you hold most dear. Lily is home now, safe, healing, and that's all that matters. But I'll never forget the moment I walked into her empty room and felt the world collapse around me. I'll never forget what it took to bring her back. In the months following the trial, everything felt fragile. Even though Samantha was locked away, I lived in constant fear that her influence still lingered, like a ghost that refused to leave quietly. Lily had returned home physically safe, but her spirit was fractured in ways that took time, patience, and love to mend. We began therapy together. At first, she barely spoke. Our counselor, a kind, soft-spoken woman named Dana, used play therapy to help Lily express her feelings. Through dolls and drawings, we started piecing together the emotional puzzle. One day, Lily drew a picture of a house. 2 people stood outside, a tall man and a small girl. Inside, alone behind a window, was a woman with red scribbles around her. When Dana gently asked who that was, Lily replied, "That's Mommy when she's mad." It broke me, but it also helped me understand how deeply Lily had been manipulated. Samantha had weaponized my daughter's innocence to hurt me, to win some twisted war I never even wanted to fight. I knew I had to make our home feel safe again, not just physically, but emotionally. I took a leave of absence from work and devoted myself fully to Lily. We made a new bedtime routine, reading her favorite storybooks, singing silly songs, creating a little safe dream tent in her room with fairy lights and pillows. Every night, before she fell asleep, I reminded her, "Daddy is here. You're safe. No one will take you away again." Little by little, her laughter returned. But the world outside didn't forget so easily. News outlets ran sensational stories with headlines like, "Mother kidnaps daughter in vengeful custody plot," and "Father saves child from runaway ex-wife." Paparazzi even showed up at Lily's school once. I had to pull her out and enroll her elsewhere under a different last name. Our lives became quieter, more private, but safer. I received letters from Samantha in prison. At first, I didn't open them. The envelopes stacked up in a drawer I couldn't bring myself to touch. Then one night, after Lily had gone to bed, I sat at the kitchen table and opened the first one. It was handwritten, neat, almost mechanical. She wrote, "I don't expect forgiveness, but I hope one day Lily will understand why I did what I did." I read that line over and over. Understand? How could any child ever understand that their own mother tried to erase one of their parents from existence? In later letters, she tried to explain. She blamed me for emotionally abandoning her during the marriage, claimed that I never fought hard enough to make her feel wanted. She said that taking Lily wasn't about revenge, it was about love. But that's not love. Love doesn't steal. It doesn't lie. It doesn't destroy a child's sense of security just to win a grudge match. I never wrote her back. A year passed. Lily turned 6. Her birthday party was small. Just a few close friends from her new school, balloons, cupcakes, a visit from a magician. She laughed the entire day. And as I watched her blow out the candles, I found myself blinking away tears. Not of sadness, but of hope, of gratitude. Later that night, after the guests had gone, Lily climbed into my lap and whispered, "That was my best birthday ever." I held her close, kissed her forehead, and said, "You deserve all the best birthdays, sweetheart. And they're only going to get better." Still, shadows lingered. One evening, while we were watching a cartoon together, Lily turned to me and asked, "Daddy, do people stop loving each other forever?" I froze. I wasn't ready for that question, but I knew I had to answer it. "Sometimes," I said slowly, "people who once loved each other grow apart, but that doesn't mean love disappears. It just changes." She frowned. "So Mommy doesn't love me anymore?" My heart twisted. "No, sweetheart," I said, stroking her hair. "Your Mommy, she's confused, and she made a very big mistake. But I believe she loved you, even if she didn't know how to show it the right way." It was the closest I could come to telling her the truth without poisoning her against her own mother. Another year passed. Lily started therapy sessions on her own, gaining more confidence, more tools to express herself. Her teachers said she was bright, thoughtful, emotionally mature. She made friends easily, though she was wary of adults she didn't know well. Trust takes time, but she was healing. As for me, I slowly rebuilt a version of myself I had lost in the chaos. I went back to work, remotely at first, then eventually returned to the office. My colleagues were kind. Some treated me like a hero. Others avoided eye contact, unsure what to say. Trauma makes people uncomfortable. I dated a little carefully, always putting Lily first. I met someone, Claire, kind, patient, understanding. She never tried to replace Samantha, never even asked to meet Lily until I brought it up. When they finally met, it was on a walk in the park. Claire brought bubbles and let Lily lead the conversation. I watched them from a distance, my heart caught in my throat, unsure if I was witnessing a beginning or risking another heartbreak. But Lily warmed to her, slowly, cautiously, and when she asked if Claire could join us for movie night one weekend, I knew we were ready to open that door, even if just a crack. Years went by. Lily grew taller, smarter, stronger. The girl who once cried herself to sleep every night now stood in front of classrooms presenting science projects with poise. She danced in school plays, wrote stories about brave girls with magical pets. She still kept the stuffed bear from those dark days. It sat on her bookshelf now, a silent witness to everything she'd overcome. Eventually, she asked me the question I'd been dreading. "Can I write a letter to Mommy?" I hesitated. "Why?" "I don't know," she said. I want to tell her I'm okay." I blinked. "You can, if you're sure." She wrote it that evening. In her neat, loopy handwriting, she told her mother about her new friends, her favorite teacher, the kitten we'd adopted named Mango. She didn't ask why Samantha did what she did. She didn't mention the pain. She just shared her life as it was now. Full. Real. Moving forward. I mailed it for her. I don't know if Samantha ever responded. But Lily never asked for an answer. Maybe she just needed to let go. Now, years later, I can finally tell this story without shaking. without feeling like I'm back in that cold room, staring at an empty bed. Time doesn't erase trauma, but it does reshape it. It smooths the edges. It gives you distance, perspective. People still ask me how I forgave. And the truth is, I didn't. Not in the traditional sense. I didn't absolve Samantha of her choices. I didn't excuse what she did. But I let go of the hatred. Because hate is a fire that burns you first. And I couldn't raise my daughter in flames. What I held on to was love. For Lily. For our life. For the quiet mornings and loud laughter and healing routines. I held on to hope, even when it felt impossible. And if you're watching this now, if you're a parent, a survivor, someone trying to make sense of a betrayal that stole your world, know this. You are not alone. You are not broken. You are not helpless. You are still here, still breathing, still capable of building something beautiful out of what remains. I lost my child once, but I got her back. And in the process, I found myself too. And that was the real rescue.